AI for the rest of us is 95% business, 5% technical. It's really a global scale product and business opportunity. Most people here are only looking at the US side of things. Is this startup a vertical AI or a horizontal AI? This is where the opportunity lies for a lot of the startup. Focus on this narrow vertical and test it out. 99 of the people that are actually selling AI, they're maybe just selling you ChatGPT wrapper. It's like human. If we don't know, sometimes we lie. You can have a kiosk that stand in front of your store, an AI agent that can talk to you. The next release, it will take you out already. You'll be gone. Your company was zero. If I have a little bit of this workup strategy in it, it changed the whole equation.
Welcome to the Diligent Observer from PitchFact. I'm your host, Andrew, and every week I share insights and strategies to help angel investors make better bets. My guest today is Dan Sinawat, founder of AI Connex, and a powering force in Texas AI ecosystem. After building successful ventures across Asia and the US, Dan is now focused on bridging the critical gap between AI technology and practical business applications. In this episode, we explore why vertical AI solutions are the next frontier for angel investors, how to evaluate AI startups beyond purely technical hype, and his fascinating vision for Texas becoming the global AI capital by 2026. I hope you enjoy learning from Dan as much as I did. Dan, thank you for being with me today. I'd love if we could just start by walking us through your background and how you got to this seat.
I was born in New York. Then after that, my dad, he passed away. So we moved back to Thailand. And I grew up in Thailand until I was 16, came back here in Texas, studied a year in Beaumont, Texas, which I really liked. And then I decided to move to Portland because I wanted to go to a bigger city. Went to Japan for 10 years, Thailand another 4 years, and then Singapore 3 years. And now I'm here the last 4.5 years. So it's just kind of been all over the world. And that's kind of gave me a perspective of, being here in Texas, back here, I love it. This is my home now. But I think with AI, it's really a global scale product and business opportunity, but not many people looking at it that way. I started AI Connex to be a global AI community and grown it into an accelerator, a little bit of VC arm, which we will talk about another one of my company called AI Venture House. And we try to be the center of AI universe here.
Say a little bit more about this gap that you're focused on.
Well, I'll say about the business side of things first. The gap that I see in the market is that if you go to a lot of AI conferences, they like to focus on technical side, which is fine. I mean, it's good, it's exciting, and there's a lot to do on the technical side. But for the rest of us, it's really about business. It's not cloud, it's not security, where it's meant for a specific thing. I mean, when I look at it, I was from IT cybersecurity, IT cloud, infrastructure background. It was great, but then it felt like I was selling something that is a cost to the company. And the people weren't really that exciting about paying for something that is a cost to the company. And then when you look at AI, wow, it's exciting. People are looking at AI as an opportunity, as a business opportunity, how it can help the company generate more revenue, reduce costs, and all that. But then there's not a lot of people talk about it that way. Back when I was starting in January, everybody was more focusing on technical side. And that's why I decided, well, I need to fill this gap. And we started this AI Connect, and right away, just focus on AI for business. How do we bring in the business leaders, the decision maker, founders, and investor all together in one place? And that's what I think is the key to this AI adoption in business. It's really people need to understand what it's for and how to do it, and right away who can do it for them, and let's get it going.
So essentially, the application of AI technology is the focus in business contexts. I think that makes a lot of sense. Very few people in the world really get it from a technical standpoint, but we're all starting to benefit from it. Like when OpenAI and Anthropic, and all these companies have just hit the limelight, it seems like the business community has been in this 18-month stretch of like, okay, what do we do now? How do we lean into this AI stuff? How do we use this? And it sounds like you guys are really focused on helping enterprises do that and helping entrepreneurs get those connections from a business application standpoint. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah. And I would say that AI for the rest of us is 95% business, 5% technical. And that's one thing from an investor standpoint is what we are looking at. How much does that AI company or the founder itself is really come down to the founders understand the business or that domain. It has to be domain specific. It has to be verticalized. You can't just creating an AI company just for the sake of creating another LLM tool, then you'll be competing with OpenAI. And that's another thing to look at is this startup a vertical AI or a horizontal AI? Horizontal AI, think of it as infrastructure of AI, like OpenAI, AWS, Microsoft, IBM, Oracle. All these are infrastructure layer of AI. They're creating this foundational model, as you have heard, other Llama, Anthropic, and everything. But then you're gonna be competing with people that spend billions of dollars to create something like that, which I don't think most startups have that much runway and investment to go after. I think it's like 1% of everybody. So for people here in Texas or a lot of the startup, we should look at this vertical AI. Where can we apply this AI and where is your expertise in that area? I wouldn't invest in a company, for example, that do AI for real estate if that founder doesn't have any real estate experience. Because how can he talk the same language? How can he or she even understand the real problem that the real estate industry have? It's go down to that micro level of understanding that domain and really dive deep into solving that specific problem. And that's like this horizontal AI. They're more focusing on foundational and fundamental thing where they don't have the reach to go after every vertical. Not yet, anyway. So at least for the next couple of years, this is where the opportunity lies for a lot of the startup. And that's where we would look at. And I see that gap for us because I'm here in Texas. If we're like in Silicon Valley, we meet a lot of smart student who's been doing like crazy scientist thing that can create the next open AI model. Maybe we'll look at investing in those horizontal, but I think there's a lot of business opportunity out there that we're gonna be probably the most concentrated business center where a lot of Fortune 500 company gonna be here in North Texas. And I think those are great opportunity for vertical AI to go after these customer, test them out, do a POC with them, capture some big brand as their trial customer and grow in that specific vertical. And that's where I think the opportunity lies. And because of our global presence and my connection I have overseas, once they get to a certain level, we can take them overseas. If you go to the website for U.S. Department of Commerce, ITA website for North Texas, you're going to see AI Connex listed there. We are helping startup expand overseas. And a lot of these companies, let's say they're providing construction AI solution. Construction is very transferable into different countries. Right? It'll work as well in Japan and Singapore, Thailand. So there's a lot of opportunity to expand overseas, and people don't realize that, right? There's a lot of collaboration that can be done. A lot of people from even startup from overseas, they look at US as the destination for AI. They all want to get here. The government over there actually give these startup a lot of money to actually come to the US. I have worked with people from government of Singapore, Enterprise Singapore. I talked to people from Japan, Jetro. They all have this program where they put in a lot of money to support startup to come expand to the US. Look at a program called Beyond Japan. They have already done a startup incubation program here in Austin recently, in Los Angeles, New York, and so forth. So they all want to bring people here, and we just don't know it because most people here are only looking at the US side of things, right? And that's where I think the gap is between the business and also the global view of how things are happening.
So, Dan, what do you think is next? It sounds like the age of pioneering new fundamental horizontal models is owned by the big players right now. The greatest opportunity lies in this verticalized application of AI to solve more specific niche needs. Is the next evolution more niche verticalized, like sub-vertical solutions within the construction industry? Maybe there's sub tools that serve even more specific use cases. Do you think that's the next evolution? What do you see as the next frontier for AI application, say 3 to 5 years from now?
Well, definitely this coming year, like 2025, it's going to be all about agentic AI or AI agent. So you have AI agent and multiple agents doing things for you. And exactly, it's going to do all these sub-vertical things. It's going to be better at doing different tasks and all talking to each other back to the centralized knowledge base. That's what we, from our AI consulting standpoint, we try to design the AI the right way. I would say 99 of the people that are actually selling AI consulting or AI solution, they're maybe just selling you an LLM or ChatGPT wrapper. We call it a wrapper. Pretty much underneath it, it's just an LLM or ChatGPT, and they just put the agent and with a little bit of your private data, and boom, here you go. You got an AI solution. But that's only kind of moving a problem from one layer to the next, right? Like you're throwing a problem at another team, for example, like, oh, now my sales and marketing, we got AI, good. We can deal with customer more, it just answer things, but it still hallucinate. It's still gonna give customer maybe not exactly accurate information. But now we're done. Boom. Let's send it off to the operation team. Now operation team got a whole bunch of problem they have to solve, and then, more trouble with the customer not getting the right information at first and all that. People don't look at it holistically. And how we design it is really from, we call it like creating a centralized knowledge base where it become the central knowledge for other agents to work properly. And then we do that based on something called ontology engineering, where we actually adapt. We are not just throwing data into a database. So people say a lot about big data, trading database, big data, and all this stuff, but it's just a data that you store. There's not a lot of actionable things that you can see from that. Certain technology that are there and been there for decades that real AI consultant and AI ML scientist has been working on trying to solve using all these technology like symbolic reasoning. And then now it turned into a machine reasoning, which I think we will talk a little bit about. Once we have the centralized knowledge base where we apply ontology engineering, which is how we adapt human knowledge into machine readable format, now your data become actionable data. It's like turning a noun, like you store a share or a cup as a data. Now that share actually have a meaning into that share. What is it for? What's the property of a share? It has a back so that I can lean on. It has four legs. It can be used in the office, in the kitchen, or something like that. So now it had meaning to that data, right? And then we can act upon it. And that's the meaning of creating a knowledge base, not just a database. And then once we have that, any other agent around it can act upon it. Like let's say a salesperson got an RFP. Now that RFP listed certain requirement, like I need to have an SLA at 99.9999%, and I need to be able to serve 15 of my location in DFW, stuff like that. Salespeople can just tell that AI agent, and that AI agent will go talk to the other agent. Let's say my operation team agent would know what SLA I can handle at this point in time. And then it will talk to another agent, maybe facility agent. Oh, how many location and how many new location we are planning. Now we can respond to that RFP because the start date of that RFP is actually middle of next year in 2025. We could meet and exceed their site expectation. All that, it's not easy to be done by human, and it requires a lot of this human knowledge behind the scene that, not really representable in the data that you have today. So creating that now, AI agent can be acting instead of us doing everything.
You mentioned how tempting it is for AI conversations to get technical really fast. I think part of the reason is that this is just so new and there's a certain level of basic understanding that's needed for business people to be able to appropriately apply AI technology. And so you just educated me on how agentic AI works and kind of the multiple layers here. I think that's such an important point because so many people see these startups that are just throwing out an AI wrapper on their basic product or service, and there's just this massive lack of education around what all this stuff actually means. So I think that's super interesting to think about. You're talking about 2025 as the year of agentic AI, kind of rolling out these multiple layers of connected AI agents. What's after that, in your opinion?
Perfect. I think the next one is actually machine reasoning. And you already see that with O1 from ChatGPT. We call it like a system two of AI, actually. System one is really like what we have today, simple, easy. It can answer. A lot of them is actually machine learning. And we got to look at what learning mean. Learning is actually just learning what has happened in the past, some of the previous answer that has been answered based on these things, it learned old answers. But if it's something new, it wouldn't be able to answer. It just kind of hallucinate in a way. I just make it simple enough. Like it would just make up things, right? Because this LLM, large language model, the task is to give you something, to give you an answer of something, right? Even though it's not accurate, it was still going to give you an answer. And that's a problem. It's like human. If we don't know, sometimes we lie. It's a good representation of human in a way. But like Elon is trying to do with his XAI, is to create an ultimate truth engine. And that's has to do with machine reasoning. Machine reasoning is the system tool of AI where it's actually think. And if you look at the new model of ChatGPT o1, it takes a little bit more time. And it actually think through what prompt and what question it has been asked. And that's the next step of AI is really when you have this machine reasoning. So we have this knowledge base and an agent, but to get to the accurate answer, you need this machine reasoning in the middle. And that's what we normally build in our architecture. And why do we need that? Is because most of the business, as you see, are having this deterministic problem that they need to solve. You can't have a probabilistic tool to solve it. And I call probabilistic tool, which is the current like ChatGPT LLM model, it's just probabilistic, like probability, whatever you ask, give you a guesstimate in a way, right? The more you train, it will get accurate, but it will never be 100%. And the problem is it doesn't have that reasoning engine. The reasoning engine would help you achieve that 100% accuracy. And I think that's what we are aiming for. And that's going to be huge. And that's a step toward AGI, artificial general intelligence, which I think a lot of people start to talk about. One of my good friends, he's the father of AGI, Ben Gotzel. He was one of our keynote speaker at AI in McKinney. He wrote a book about AGI. He bring his robot, Sophia, around the world with him to do concert, to do all this like humanoid and human and AI emergence kind of thing. So it's kind of very interesting. You're gonna see this probably three things I say: agentic AI, machine reasoning, AGI is probably maybe 2026, 2027. I would say we'll get closer to that. But that's the ultimate goal of everybody is really to get to the AGI where AI is here. It's still dumber than human. It still do easy things for us, but not everything. And AGI will make AI equivalent to human capability, where a lot of the tasks can be done. And that's why agentic AI or AI agent can do a lot of tasks for us. Once we have this AGI, then a lot of job will probably be gone, but maybe in a better way. Maybe we will focus on doing something different. And then ASI, which is artificial super intelligence, where it go beyond human. And that's the fun part. What are we going to do at the time?
So let's take a step back and get a little bit more tactical on startups that are working in this space today. For the most part, it sounds like in the verticalization and specific applications of these existing tools. Walk me through how you all evaluate startup opportunities. Like, let's say that an AI startup comes to you and says, "Hey, I'd like to raise $500,000. Would you consider investing?" What are some of the non-obvious questions that you would ask, or the things that you'd be interested in understanding about that business?
First thing I would look at, are they a services company or a product company? A lot of time it's a mix of both, but most VC, I would say, just focusing on investing in a product company where it can scale. Think of one of the company in our portfolio in AI venture house. It's called Spring AI Studio. So they're like Canva in a way, where you can actually use AI tool to generate images or from a sketch, or use AI to generate photorealistic or 3D or anything based on your sketch, for example, or do AI stylist where you can upload your face and you can try on different clothes. But that is like any other Canva tool or Adobe or things out there already. But the best part is she has this B2B integration. Now your website can have this AI stylist there directly without jumping to a different website to try on different things. Now, interior company, real estate company can have customer uploading their room picture and then change the style of the room quickly or put different arrangement into that room before they sell without even buying any of those arrangements and still containing your same room structure. That can scale. If you look at it, it will scale in the way that it could be a unicorn, for example. That is what a lot of real investor is looking for, a company that really scale. Another company called Clutchshot AI. This one deal with sports, and they try to be the next TikTok for sport. It use AI to create an instant highlight from the game, and it's for amateur, not like pro. The pro already have like 30 cameras all over the stadium. You can't compete with that. But other than that, how many camera does your parents have? One at most at a game, right? How can you take a multi-angle shot of your kids playing, like doing a dunk? It's not possible today. This company had figured it out using AI to create an instant highlight. And also, the more people download the app, check into the same game, you even get the highlight from other camera that are shooting that same game. Now that changed the whole perspective of kids or amateur sports highlight. Now you can get to scout faster. Scout, they don't come and sit and watch the full game anymore. Even the kids in scout, they wanted to see who's got the best play and then analyze some of those play and then maybe go deeper later on once they really liked that kid. And integrating that with new score. So now let's say if a Nike agent saw that video and liked it on social media, well, then that kid score go up because now it been noticed by some brand. It's all coming relating to all this data around marketing data, marketability, likeness of that person. So it's really, if you don't leverage AI to do this, it's like in the age of the social media, it's gonna be tough. So having that kind of product, you can think of it as it's gonna scale to millions and millions of users quickly. A lot of time we look at that. And if it's services, then maybe people would go a different route, go like after growth capital, where it's non-dilutive. It helps you grow at a faster pace, but it's like a loan in a way. A lot of time before we investing, we check the founder. Some VC even do a thorough background check, a criminal check in the US database and international. You never know. Some people actually committed a fraud. So all this thing, I don't think most investors realize how important it is. and actually knowing the correct character, having do a good due diligence is important. I would take a reference, maybe even ask for a customer reference. You have a customer reference that I can talk to, or who has invested in you before. I may ask to talk to. If it's an institutional, it's easy, right? Most people do a call between each other and check their binding. We call it binding, where it has a lot of these due diligence information already. And if it's angel investor, it's hard because you don't have all the tools available to do all that due diligence. But I would say at the minimum, you need to get some reference, understand their go-to-market strategy well. It's like a dating where you want to get to know that person. You don't want to rush into it. I think that's a key. A lot of people fall for that.
I want to ask more about the way you assess the go-to-market strategy. You've got a lot of experience in the enterprise IT consulting universe, and a big part of your focus over the last year has been specifically around helping business understand the different applications and use cases for AI. Talk about what a good, strong go-to-market strategy for a budding AI startup looks like and what a bad go-to-market strategy looks like.
Definitely. I'll give you an example from one of our portfolio, a company called Intelligate. They're great. They do agentic AIs or AI agent for retail. And it's great. Like you can have a kiosk that stand in front of your store, an AI agent that can talk to you. Think about you going to Walmart or something, and this holiday people are busy, right? No one have time to help you with anything. They're running around restocking things. But hey, man, my Thanksgiving dinner coming up. I have no idea what to cook. You want to ask somebody, you can walk and ask this AI agent. Think of how much impact it would have to the store. And they're creating that. And their go to market right now is easy to understand. But the bad example of that is before they had this go to market, they were creating something great, which is creating an AI platform where people can build agent on top for a different like restaurant, sommelier agent, convenience store agent, and different agent, but it's too broad, right? At the end, you're again competing with a horizontal AI in a way where you're creating a platform that can go compete with open AI where maybe the next release, it will take you out already. You'll be gone. Your company was zero if they come up with something that quickly be able to replace you. So that's something we are always concerned about. And then that's what we advise their startup, Intelligate, and the founder, Brian, he's very smart. He understands right away. And we define the go-to-market strategy. Hey, what you're good at? You're creating this 3D hologram agent, and you have this kiosk already as a good example. Who would benefit the most? We're looking at it. And how do we go to capture this market quickly? We go through it and then we decide retail AI would be the best for that. Once you decide your focus, your narrow focus, then it's easy to go after it. But if it's too broad, you have no focus, you'll be good at nothing. Nobody will know you, right? I would rather have the startup focus couple months on this narrow vertical and test it out. If they're successful, great, keep going. If not, forget it and change. You can pivot quicker that way when you have a defined and focus.
So it sounds like it's traditional wisdom, right? Is niche down and then get a beachhead, get some traction, get some proof, and then scale it to other use cases. But you're wasting your time if you're coming out of the gate trying to solve everything at once. There's no way.
Exactly. And I think that's what lacking for a lot of the founder. They're good at technical things, creating a product, but the business side is lacking, which is not a hard thing, right? If they're creating something good already, a lot of people like you, me, and many people in this industry actually know how to expand the market presence. At the end of the day, if we have the right product, we can find the right strategy for it, right? And then find the right people that can take you there.
Any other key areas or things that you would look at for a new, like if a new AI company was coming to pitch you for investment?
We're probably looking at, can this company capture a couple millions of revenue within the next year or two? It's come down to like, how can you grow? And even with your own, like, can you do it yourself? Is there a way you can do it? A lot of people have this myth about raising capital. They think that, oh, there's a lot of money out there and it's free money out there, but it's wrong. Maybe it's the generation gap, I guess. Maybe if there's a lot of crazy thing going on in Silicon Valley, and I would say that things that going on there is an exception. There's some kids out there that's like 18 to 20 years old, great at pitching. They're like amazing. And they can walk out from that pitch with $25 million in investment without having a product. But then you're questioning it like, oh, what are they actually making? Yeah, I don't know. I just give them some money. So it's kind of a crazy world out there. And here, where a lot of people are harder working and we are more honest. I like working with the startup here in Texas because people are really hardworking and try to do good things, but maybe lack a little bit of business and how to raise that capital and how to talk to the investor, for example. And then it come down to the character of that startup founder. Again, some people today think that those money are free, but it's actually not. If you actually took the money from angel investor and your company fail, they're gonna come after you. They want their money back. Everybody want their money back. When I had my first startup at was 20 something years old in Japan, with a big Japanese company, we signed a deal that we would create a joint venture. And I didn't have cash to put in that capital. So they put all those capital. But on the back end, we have a contract that I owe them those money. Every penny I have to pay back. So that company we ran for a couple of years, and every time we have some revenue and profit, everything go back into paying those capital back so that we can maintain the cash flow. But people don't realize nowadays, like they thought that money is free, but it's not. Like, and even today, if I'm gonna create a startup, I'm gonna work my ass off to pay those money back and make it worth it to all my investors. And that kind of attitude, I think, is lacking today, and that's what we screen for.
Dan, you've got a really interesting multinational background, like we talked about at the beginning. What are some of the things that you feel like founders in your community, specifically kind of in North Texas or Texas more broadly, aren't thinking about or don't talk about enough that are much more important overseas? So your experience in Thailand, Singapore, and Japan. What are the things that we're not thinking or talking enough about, in your opinion, that we should be?
One thing is looking at from a global scale. For example, in 2026, do you know what's coming here in Texas or to the US? What kind of big event is coming? It's World Cup. And it's right here at your hometown. We can have 9 matches, probably the most in the US. 9 matches alone in DFW. And look, I asked you, and it's 2026 somewhere. That's less than 2 years from now. Most people still don't realize. World Cup is actually once in a lifetime opportunity for us here. People don't realize that and how much opportunity it will create for the whole community, not just for tech community, but for the whole community of Texas, of the US, Canada, and Mexico. It's huge. The whole world is coming here. See, that's the lack of global view I'm talking about. People are looking at things that they do day to day and month to month, but lacking this macro view of what is going on in the world and what could impact your business. If you have that in your mindset and looking out a little bit more, you can see that whatever AI startup I created, if I have a little bit of this workup strategy in it, it changed the whole equation. Like this IntelliGate. When we talk about AI for retail, why I pick retail is because World Cup is coming 2026. Who's going to handle all those foreign customers? How are they going to handle all this languages difference? People will walk up and speaking Japanese. Most Japanese can speak English, but there'll be so many Japanese people here that people don't realize. See, looking at that again from a global view, I'm sure we're going to get a pretty good amount of Japanese people here. There'll be a lot of people from South America, Europe. My God, how many languages do we need to train our retail staff? There's no way they can ask all kind of thing. Having this AI agent everywhere is going to be important. And then you can scale. Now you have a clear go-to-market and a goal for it. And then if an investor hear your story about approaching retail this way, because your aim is to get to be the biggest AI retail by 2026 to work with the city of Frisco, work with the city of Dallas to support all this foreign customer, I would invest in that company because he's looking for a big thing. I want my investment to grow 10x, not 2x.
Mm.
And then what's coming 2028? Do you know what's coming to the US again 2028?
Olympics, I think.
Yeah, so you got this one right. And now you see, if this guy is successful in 2026 in World Cup, you think he's gonna be successful in Olympic too? There's a high chance, high probability. He has a good reference in World Cup that he can go pitch and get that contract in Olympic too. Looking at that from a different scale is very important. And I can say that every startup now, if you look at capitalizing this World Cup opportunity and it's local here, there's going to be a lot of things that we can do. And that would be my advice is really to looking at capitalizing a little bit on such a world event like World Cup.
Dan, anything else you're excited about right now in this season?
I think, AI is definitely a great thing, but then I think Texas has a lot of potential. My vision for AI Connex is really to make Texas the AI capital of the world. And by 2026, when the World Cup is here, we hope to show the world not just soccer and barbecue and let them go home. We want to show the world something else. And I wish to show them that we are the AI hub, the technology hub, the biggest one on earth. When they're here, they're going to realize how much potential Texas can offer them. And they should bring their business here so that the whole community will thrive if everybody start to realize the potential of how Texas, North Texas, can be the hub for business and technology in the future. And that's what excites me, get me going and doing this every day because I think we can be that. And we can have a big announcement on December 10th. We have an AI event. It's called BC Arena. And we are partnering with a big venture capital firm called Legendary Ventures, where they have invested in every Elon Musk portfolio from very early on. They're an early investor in Airbnb and Pinterest, for example. They are very well-known early stage investor, and they are partnering with us because they see the same vision. We wanted to be the one that can actually revitalize and make this startup community and VC investment in North Texas different.
Well, Dan, thank you for joining me today. This has been a pleasure. Very excited about the work that you're doing and look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, same here. Thanks again for inviting me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Diligent Observer. I'm your host, Andrew Taslow, and if you're looking to make better bets as an angel investor, subscribe for more at thediligentobserver.substack.com.